Dr. Joel has had a long and distinguished career as a child and adolescent psychiatrist. He's written several books for adolescents, and one very recent one, by the way, for older folks, men, and issues they face in aging, and the people who love them who face that with them. And his book is called To Pee or Not to Pee. And it is The Common Man's Guide to the Prostate. So it's, everything you wanted to know but were afraid to ask or got confused in the process and need some confidence to deal with those issues. But we are going to be talking today, based on a previous conversation that Dr. Joel and I had, about his book called Noses Are Red, How to Nurture Your Child's Sense of Humor. And I asked him if he would discuss with me some of the tips. What do you do? Because we've got so many early childhood professionals here with us today. What are some, and certainly parents, anyone that's dealing with young kids. So here is the picture of the infant trying to tell us something. It's not gas. So we're going to look at 5 ideas, maybe, and a couple of more, actually. If you want to raise a kid with a great sense of humor, when the infant first smiles, it's a mistake to dismiss it saying it's only gas, because an infant can respond to pleasure and can sense a social connection. Dr. Joel, tell us what you were meaning by that.
Well, when a child is born, initially you pick up the child, you hold the child, you cuddle the child, you're beginning to develop a relationship. And then the neurobiologic information kicks in, the genetics kick in, and the child smiles. And it's really up to the parent at that point to smile back, to appreciate it, to parade the smile around. It's a beginning building block for developing a relationship and also developing a sense of humor. It is not gas. It does not have to be treated as gas. It's to be treated as a communication, a beginning, a further beginning of your relationship and building a sense of humor with your child.
Human beings are unique among living creatures in the ability to laugh and smile as a way of creating social relationships and expressing emotion. And the pleasure principle, seeking pleasure, avoiding pain, responding to both, begins virtually at birth. So it's not the gas that causes the infant to smile, it's the relief of the gas bubble that is a pleasurable sensation. That relief actually begins to generate neurological chemicals that are associated with pleasure, and chuckling and giggling and smiling starts to bubble up. So we want to not just dismiss that, it's only gas. It's not a great sense of humor that's making the kids laugh, but it is the beginning of becoming a human being, a real human being. And human beings, by the way, I'll just insert this here, can only become fully mature and functional human beings with the help of other human beings. We raise each other. And that's what it takes. Okay, the second point that Dr. Joel and I were talking about was when the child laughs, it's a mistake to teach them to laugh the right way. Not too loud, not too screechy, not too giggly. The sound of laughter is a gift of nature. What about that, Dr. Joel?
Well, the laughing is unique to the child. It's their way of expressing something funny, expressing joy, expressing pleasure, and again, it's their personality. You don't want to squash them and try to make them like you think they should be. So even if you're having a bad day, even if you have a headache, even if things haven't gone well, you come home and the child is laughing, the child is giggling, you don't want to shut it up. You don't want to say, not now, I don't feel good. You, again, want to play with the child, laugh with them, enjoy it, encourage it, another stepping stone, another block towards relationships, and they're developing a sense of humor.
That's great. The sound of laughter is a vocalized sound. That means it comes from the vocal cords. That means it is as unique as your voice. And you don't choose how to laugh. You don't. The infant's not laying in the crib saying, I think I'll laugh like this. It comes out through the vocal cords. And so the quality of the sound of the laugh is affected by, body mass and size and that kind of thing. So you can hear a person laughing before you see them. You know who it is because it's their voice involved in the laugh. So this is part of allowing the child to be unique. Okay, let's look at the third thing that you and I talked about, Dr. Joel. When they pretend that a banana is a telephone or that a Happy Meal container is a hat, it's a mistake to correct them. They're exploring their world. Talk about that for us.
Well, again, they begin to know that you eat a banana, that a container holds things, and then they try to expand on that and try to be funny, so to speak. So they'll use the banana as a telephone. They'll use the Happy Meal container as a hat. They may make up other things, put clothes on backwards. Again, if you correct them and say, no, wait a minute, banana's not a phone, it's a banana, and stop that, you're squelching their sense of humor. You're squelching their creativity. You're squelching their uniqueness. And so you want to play with it. Pick up a banana and talk to them back. Put a Happy Meal container on your head. Do something backwards. Draw a picture of a cow wearing a hat. Things like this is playing with the child and saying it's okay to have imagination, and there's no right or wrong when you're talking about humor. Anything and everything can be funny.
We've had some experiences here this afternoon with imagination. We imagined grapes growing. We were imagining things and talking about how, that is a great stimulation of creativity. So the kid's imagination is a stepping stone to the creative process. Let's look at the fourth thing that you and I talked about. When kids get a little older and they have language skills and they start to have vocabulary, they will try their hands at riddles, wordplay, knock-knock jokes. It's a mistake to tell them they aren't very funny. Early attempts at humor will be immature compared to, adult humor, but we still should encourage that because the sense of humor is something that you have to develop. Are we on track?
Well, yes, they're developing a sense of language. They're developing a sense of trying to be funny in a verbal way. They may say, Mary had a little lamb, cha-cha-cha, and that would be funny. Or they'll say, what's red and white and purple? And you say, I don't know, and they say an elephant. Now, that's funny to them. In the broad sense of the word, that's really not funny, but it's their attempt at being funny, and so you should laugh at that.
Actually, we have a few people laughing at it right here. That's very good.
Well, it made me feel good that they laughed at that, and that's what's going to happen with the child. The child is going to feel loved and appreciated that you like their attempt at trying to do something novel, creative, imaginative.
Pablo Picasso at one time said at the age of 95 that his goal was to learn to draw like a 5-year-old. There's a difference between being childish and childlike. And what an important goal for all of us to never lose that part of us that's childlike. The fifth thing you and I talked about, Dr. Joel, it's a mistake to use sarcasm and ridicule. It sends a mixed message and can create barriers to peer socialization, to getting along. What's that about?
Well, when you see two people laughing, a parent and a child or grown-ups laughing, there's a bond that's created. If the humor has to do with being sarcastic, putting people down, ridiculing them, making fun of them, it will push people away. It will do the exact opposite of what you want to do with humor. Humor creates bonds. It makes people work more. It makes people listen and learn. You want to pull people in. You don't want to push them away. So you do not want to teach them ridicule, sarcasm, and you don't want to, if they're using it, you want to teach them what's good kind of humor and what would be bad kind of humor.
You know, we talked a little earlier here about life being a psychosocial proposition and the importance of getting the social part of it right. And I'm reminded that we're aware that we get along in life more or less well because we're part of a network of love and support and understanding. And the difference between laughing with and laughing at people is that when we laugh with people, we're putting our arms around them and we're inviting them into the network of love and support and understanding. And when we laugh at people, we push them out of the network. And people who are alienated, who are out of the network, will be comfortable perpetrating harm to the network and the people in it if they're not part of it.
When you think of the teachers that you like the best, probably they're the ones that had funny stories, that had a funny sense of humor, that pulled you in. Victor Borges says a smile is the shortest distance between two people. It pulls people in. That's what you want to do. You encourage their sense of humor, and then you show them how they can use it to create networks, to create and expand their social experience, and get people to love them and appreciate. And, you know, part of the thing that you and I have is we laugh. We talk, we laugh, we call each other up and tell each other stories. It's fun. That's what life should be all about.
You're right, and I love you for it. I asked you, you told me about a very practical thing that adults could do, an activity to do with kids.
Okay.
Tell us about that suggestion.
You know, as a child does these different things, funny things, dresses up a funny way, using the banana, take pictures of it and make a scrapbook. And once you have this scrapbook, periodically sit down with the child. Remember when you did the banana. Remember when you made up the funny cow with the hat. Remember when you told Jack and the Beanstalk, and when he got to the top, instead of finding a giant, he found a car dealership. And keep all of these things in a scrapbook and remind the child. It cements that humor is important, and it encourages it, and it just perpetuates it.
I think it really helps to build self-esteem because you spend time really crystallizing that part of the child's identity, and they can identify themselves confidently as being able to see the funny side of things and relate to people that way. I love the scrapbook idea. If anybody in here does that with some of the kids, let me know. I would love to see what you come up with. We've got some very bright and creative teachers here. And one tip, your big piece of advice for adults in this whole field.
Well, for adults, you should be playful. I mean, it's very important to be playful and to have fun, and to show you that I do this. People, obviously, because they can't see me, this whole call was done not with a cell phone, but with a banana. So in other words, you have to be playful and have fun. If you're having fun, it sets the example for the child. They can teach you how to be playful, and it just is, the circle goes around and around of having fun.
Thank you, Dr. Joel. Thanks for being with us. You've helped us in the past to raise money for the scholarship fund. Your book is both books that I mentioned, but the those are read, very helpful advice about child development, particularly in the area of humor. And we brought a few copies with us, and we're going to give people the information about where they can get it. Joel, continue to have, I know you're on vacation and you took some time off of the golf course to be with us. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me. I had a great time, and
we will see you on the internet somewhere.
absolutely.
Bye-bye.